Hello, everyone. My name is Danny, and this review is for The Old Man and the Gun. Yeah, the movie. Yeah. Academy Award winners Robert Redford and Sissy Spacek will steal your heart in this charming comedy about the mostly true story of Forrest Tucker, from his daring prison escape at age 70 to an unprecedented string of bank heists that confounded authorities and enchanted the public. Wrapped up in the pursuit are Detective John Hunt, who is captivated by Forrest's commitment to his craft, and Jewel, the woman who loves him despite his criminal ways. This is a 2018 film. It's rated PG-13, and it runs 93 minutes. And it stars Robert Redford and Sissy Spacek, Casey Affleck, and a couple other guys you'll recognize if you watch movies at all, ever. So, The Old Man and the Gun. Well, this is one of those movies that you don't know anything about, but you watch and then you know what it's about because it's called The Old Man and the Gun, and it's about an old man and a gun. So we'll start with that. It's probably one of the few positives I actually have about this movie is that it's actually kind of interesting that the old man has a gun. Um, Spoiler alert, I guess. His way of robbing places is to be casual, funny, charming, and show the gun, but really never use it. That way you're in, you're out, you're inconspicuous, and nobody even knows what's going on until after you've left. So that's Robert Redford's character. So that's interesting, right? Okay. So that's about the only interesting thing in this film. Uh, has a old time feel to it. I think it's sort of a true story about an older time when cop cars looked really old and the technology was new to them. So they didn't really have any way of getting ahead of criminals. They just had to keep following them and stuff. And this is very much like the example of that. And I'm just going to tell you right now, this is the worst role I've ever seen Casey Affleck in ever. He serves no purpose whatsoever in this movie, and he is along for the ride, and it's ridiculously stupid. So he should not have even signed up for this role. I'm sure a million other people could have filled the role. It was completely useless. No reason for that character to be in this movie. But they plugged that character in, and then they put someone like Casey Affleck in that role. It's just redonkulous. So, the other useless person in this film is the lady that Robert Redford's character ends up, I guess, falling for. But she's the way they meet is so random, and then their little love romance is just irrelevant to the movie and the plot line. There really has nothing to do with it. And it just gives them a time to waste time and talk about something else when it focuses on those two. And it just takes away from the storyline. What we really want to know about, is how they're getting away from robberies, how they're doing the robberies. That's what the movie should be about. But it ends up being about these other two useless characters. And it just kills the momentum immediately. So it does stay interesting with a couple of bank robberies. It does. It has minimal interesting because of the two accomplices, the familiar guys. But it should have more of them. It should have more involvement by them. They're just kind of along for the ride too. This is like the easiest movie to ever shoot. I bet this took like a day. Seriously. Because everybody involved is just kind of standing around. Robert Redford walks into a bank, says some things, and goes out. And otherwise, they're sitting or standing around in a restaurant, and there's just kind of like it's got to be one of the easiest movies to ever shoot. It has this old time feel to it. They have terrible conversations, and it's just, very, very simple storyline with, I don't even know if you can call it a storyline. So they're calling it sort of a true story. And at the end, they just kind of like tell you that he was caught and that was it. And, then they have to run us through how he escapes prisons and stuff. It's like, we don't care at all. So I'm very sorry to say this, but with all the popular people in this movie. Like there are a lot of stars and everything, but I just was sitting here saying, oh, "Okay, that's kind of neat, but that's kind of stupid." And that's a C rating, but with how much that I'm just left with this feeling that this movie had no freaking point, it had two useless characters, I'm going to give The Old Man and the Gun a D. I can't recommend watching it. It's just one of the most bland movies I've ever seen. And that doesn't mean it's horrible, but it's horrible for the way that they decided to handle the movie. They could have gone a little bit different way and it might have been a little bit better, but it's like they didn't care and they just ended it the way they wanted to end it. And it was just so obvious, so stupid, so boring. So I'm going to give The Old Man and the Gun a D and move on with my life. Please do not watch this movie. It's not worth your time, really. And you should probably be able to tell that just by the title. Thanks a lot, guys. My name's Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and give something to watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would. And as always, enjoy your movies. Thanks.